Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. My name is Vineet Malhotra. The 15-page preliminary report into the Air India crash has helped rule out a lot of theories. The flaps were correctly set at 5 degrees for takeoff and the landing gear too retracted normally, indicating proper aircraft configuration. The aircraft in terms of weight and fuel capacity was well within normal operating limits. And the fuel quality is also said to be normal, but the samples have been tested from airport fuel trucks and not from the actual aircraft. But detailed analysis of the limited fuel samples recovered from the aircraft are still pending. Other conspiracy theories like intentional jamming and remote sabotage have already been junked. Detailed analysis make it unlikely that the pilot was responsible for this. So can we now say that the sabotage angle can be ruled out, or is there any suspected foul play that is still unanswered? And what are some of the other theories that we can come up with at this point in time? Let's talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show at this particular time is Air Vice Marshal O.P. Tiwari, AVSM VSM National Vice President of BTTS India, former Director General of the Naval Housing Board, Squadron Leader Krishna Mithru, Aviation Expert, also with us on the program. Air Marshal Ravi Kapoor, former Senior Officer Indian Air Force, with us on the program as well. Last but not the least, Commodore R.Z. Qureshi, VSM Kargil Warrior, is also joining us on the program. I'll begin with Air Vice Marshal O.P. Tiwari. Sir, appreciate you being here with us, and I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, so I've been speaking to experts all day about this report. Although, pilot error, from whatever we know so far, has been ruled out, but there are experts I have spoken to who go on to say that without manual intervention, without tweaking these knobs, it is not possible to turn off these Boeing engines. What is your theory here, sir? Because the report is short, it's only 12 pages long. A detailed report will follow. The FDR has been analyzed, but still, to a number of people, including people like me, this seems to be an incomplete report.
This is too premature. Releasing a report at this stage. That to be, it is a certain things to be. All cockpit voice recorder, entire communication, verbal communication has been taken place between both the pilots. They should release by the consul, not in the third person. He has asked, somebody asked, why you push the back? He said no. So who has asked and who has said no? So this sort of release, what has been done, there is a definite intention behind it, just to divert. What I feel is to divert from the main issues. Because any pilot, we think that he's going to release this fuel control system. It is just next to impossible. See, I tell you, before 1950, these switches were not guarded. After 1950 accidents, there were deliberate attempts to make to safeguard all the switches which cannot be operated inadvertently by any pilot or any co-pilot at any stage. So it is totally ruled out. And pilots, by human error, is totally ruled out. There is no chance of two pilots operating these switches, and that too at that excess of time when the aircraft just got airborne. And how it has gone on till the time entire cockpit video record, cockpit voice recorder, anything is played, it has to be reversed, it has to be linked and related to what is the communication taking place, what has happened. This is too premature to admit why it has happened. Now listen, there has been in 2018, there have been operators who have been complaining about the fuel control system of the Boeing 737. Similar system is attached here. There was an advisory issued by FAA in 2018 itself. But since it was not promulgated, it was not made effective because they say it was just an advisory. But however, in 2023, some modification has taken place. It means there had been problem with this aircraft. There had been problems with this aircraft, the problem with the fuel system. In this case, also you see, the throttle control, there is nothing coming up. Fuel control, how did not coming up? Sabotage ruling out. Sabotage ruling out, I am not in totally favor. Because if something has not been loosened or something has not been factored in or something has not been fixed, it will not take place. Entire fuel switch, it will not operate. Because it is spring loaded, it has to be pulled out and moved back. There is no chance of doing it. Of how it has happened, some theory I was studying, there's a remote control of fuel control system is also possible. Now what has happened, entire electric bus has gone over. Entire electric system has been switched off. All the trim control, fuel control, if flap control, under control, everything is gone. And how it has happened, it is detailed report has to come out. What I feel, the company wanted to divert the attention from the main issues. That is a technical failure or some other cause. They have issued a part-time and a smart gap and some statements, let people play around and see what has happened. But nothing will come out, and this is also not correct. I believe ICAO regulations doesn't permit to come out with certain points, certain indications before the full inquiry is complete. So this is totally immature. Why have come out? What I still feel there is some major problem because Boeing 777 Dreamliner engines had been having problem. Fortunately, because all the problems have been noted on the ground, and thanks to those passengers, because it was ground, they were safe. Unfortunately, it happened in India. Whatever problem has happened, you have lost so many people. So this is the first instance. It has never got Boeing 7. This Dreamliner has never got a very clean. I am listening to somebody else. There was complaint again by the pilots sometime in the 2017 itself. So all these things been rectified or not, but 2023 some modification, some rectification
Okay,
was.
all right. Let me bring in Mr. Mithru into this conversation as well. Mr. Mithru, do you think that this report is premature, and do you think that it does have credible information on what went wrong, but not enough credibility to be the final word?
Absolutely. I agree with you, Vineet. Firstly, thank you for inviting me on your channel. Well, the fact remains that, like Tiwari Sahab was explaining just now, it is not possible to put the fuel switch off because it's a deliberate action as far as switching off certain essentials in the air is concerned. Like he said, this modification was brought in 1980 that a safety guard was put on the switch so that that safety guard is removed, then the switch is toggled to off position. Now, here I would say that there are two engines, two fuel pumps, and two switches. It has to be a deliberate four-stage action. You remove the safety guard, put the switch off, remove the second safety guard, put the switch off, and that is when you achieve this configuration of fuel getting switched off. It is not possible for any pilot, unless he wants to suicide himself or kill others also on board, to do these four actions so as to switch off the engines mala fide, and that too at such a low altitude. Here, we have yet to correlate the voice recorder and the data recorder. Unless they are correlated and dovetailed, these two readings, these two analyses, unless they are dovetailed, we cannot come to any positive conclusion. I have another suggestion for the authorities, which I'll put it in writing. Our mobile phones have a very small size camera. Why can't we have two cameras, one on top of the captain's head and the other one on top of the co-pilot's head, so that that is then a part of the voice recorder, the cockpit voice recorder. Then we will not only rely upon the audio, we will have the audio visual in future recordings. Well, that is for modifications to happen later. But today, I would no, it is absolutely, I would not even say that it could be a sabotage or it could be whatever have you. Uh, but the situation, I cannot swallow this, the fact that fuel switches. Number two, here I would correlate this switching off the fuel and the engines switching off. Along with that, the deployment of RAM turbine. Uh, what we see is what I have heard. They say that the fuel engines, the fuel was switched off, the fuel pumps were switched off 5 seconds after takeoff. Whereas the ram turbine has been deployed after almost 20 seconds. Now, could there be a 15 seconds gap between the fuel getting switched off and the ram turbine deploying? Because the ram turbine deploys when all your electricals fail. Here, we have to see the electricals will fail only when the engines have stopped. But investigation, I think, has also shown that the engines were rotating when the aircraft hit the ground. Now, if that be so, then how has the ram turbine, or I don't know what are the setting configurations of deployment of ram, but RAT, but I feel a lot has to be put together. There are a lot of I would say uh, unsupported statements in this. This no, I am not at all convinced with this report.
Okay, all right. Air Marshal Ravi Kapoor, there are also those who are blaming the pilots for it, that this couldn't have been done without the pilots doing it manually. But the flight was only up in the air for 32 seconds. And from what I know as a layman, that these switches are hard to negotiate with.
So, good evening, Vineet, and thank you for having me on your show. First is, it was a very critical condition of flight. It was not something that pilots have the time to start fiddling with any switches or anything. It's a very critical condition of flight that you are taking off. The aircraft is at lower speeds. Second is that this report, which has come, I think it's come under pressure to make public some kind of information, because I think the pressure was mounting to let people know something is what is the kind of preliminary finding. But this report is more a statement of fact than an investigation or analysis. What is the fact? The fact is that from the report, what is evident is that the fuel supply to the engine has gone, and then it has come on in 10 seconds. That is a fact. This could have happened for whatever be the reason. The preliminary report or the statement of fact cannot be construed as a final investigation to apportion blame, responsibility, or any kind of culpability. So I think it is too premature to come to a conclusion on this accident. It is better to let the investigation go through its full course to see what were the reasons, including sabotage. I think sabotage angle should not be ruled out till the time investigations are complete, because there are many things. One is that this is finally any switch is this is not a mechanical lever, it is a switch. So it is electromechanical. Finally, it gives an electrical command while it is operated mechanically. So till the time we do not go through the entire process of investigation in trying to find out the reason for the fuel supply to be shut off to the engine, it would be premature to come to a conclusion. And the easiest thing, in any accident is to blame the pilot, because the pilot is not there to defend himself. And so it is very important that instead of making presumptions, we should allow time and allow the experts to go through this in detail and do this whole thing. What happens in after some incidents in Air Force, what we have started doing even in our transport fleet, certain critical conditions of flight we videograph. And so it is important that when the technology increases, when the pilot load increases under certain conditions, it is always better to have a kind of a backup where you could record. Cockpit voice recorder gives you here there is a clear-cut evidence that the pilot said that have you switched it off, and the other pilot said no, I have not switched it off. Now, so there is a clear-cut indication, because the switches are cannot be fiddled around. It cannot go off or on its own. But the fact remains that the fuel supply has been cut off. So overall, I would say that we should not jump to conclusions and let the inquiry go through with the set of experts. Do not rule out any kind of possibility, and I think presumptions and perceptions should be curbed. That is all I would like to say. Thank you.
Okay, well, presumptions is something that we, in fact, we have to contend with. And Commodore Qureshi, and presumptions is what the Western media has also only focused on. But the fact of the matter is that Boeing in itself has been under the radar for faulty equipment and faulty OEMs. What's your take on this entire episode, sir?
As far as all the three panelists have covered actually most of the things which I'm in agreement in fact. But I would like to add two more additional things here. Firstly, what the report has done, we should not call it as a report. We should call it as a narration of the incident actually. It just narrated actually the incident, what happened, what all the documents are available, what are the data is available, nothing much, nothing less. So we should not be calling and jumping onto this as far as the report part is concerned. Second part, I do not know why it is missing from this report, or so-called report of the so-called of this document. What are the precautionary actually action has been initiated by the Boeing or by the airlines so that such kinds of accident should not be repeated in future? There are at present, if we see since the accident has taken place, there are three things we are talking. One is we are talking, okay, the first and fourth, which what Air Marshal Kapoor has said very rightly, just blame a pilot who is not there to defend himself. That's the first part. Second part, we are talking about the sabotage. Okay, these are the two things actually very easily you can talk. But we are not talking about the technical failure. What has happened into the aircraft? What malfunction have taken place? What is the software problem? And if there is a problem, because there are chances that something has gone wrong even in the aircraft, even in the software. Now, with those, if suppose, I say if and big if suppose that is a thing, that means all the Boeing aircraft is still flying without undergoing any checks, without undergoing any kind of things. Only we take it for granted. That means we should not be doing any inquiry. We just blame the pilot and close the chapter and sit down and carry on. This is not the way, in my opinion. So many lives have gone. One of the worst accidents have taken place. In my opinion, there should have been some kind of very stringent advisory to carry out some checks. Something actually has to be done. And this has to be recommended by the OEM. How we can sit exactly and we keep talking only about the report, about this report, when the report will come till, that means we are waiting for another accident. We are waiting for something more to happen. No, this is not the way. In the aviation fleet, in the aviation field, it's always like that. When any incident or accident takes place, we have to do some kind of precautionary checks. We have to go into the detail before. If we need to ground the fleet, we have to ground the fleet. There's no choice. There's no choice we have in the aviation field. Because it is the life of human is involved in this. It's not a machinery only. I do not know why the report or why no one is talking about this. Everybody is talking. Pilot has done. Sabotage the fuel. Is okay, fine. Fuel. That definitely something is gone wrong. That the accident has taken place. There is the doubt in that. Now no one is talking. What has OEM suggested anything? Because there's something has gone wrong. We cannot give a clean sheet actually to the Boeing fleet in totality. No. Everything is fine. Only either sabotage or pilot. No, sir, I'm not in agreement on this part.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Mithru, this is important to understand that the final report is going to be taking time, but there are also concerns whether it will be made public or not. How damning could it be if the public does not get to know what exactly happened here, so that things can improve and lives can be saved, sir?
You see, as far as saving the life is concerned, I would definitely agree with Rashid sir to say that how are these aircraft still flying with this kind of a doubt that under the circumstances this accident has happened? Are we playing with lives of the people? Next, what is your second question you said?
So we are talking about this report and the learnings that will come out of this accident to be made public
Yes.
so that lives can be saved, sir.
Yes. This final report cannot be concealed under any circumstances due to the fact that this case has exploded beyond limits and virtually challenged the aviation industry. Now, that is why it is said by Qureshi Saab that why are the aircraft not grounded on this count? It cannot be hidden. It has to be made public, and we very clearly find. I'm also of the opinion that they're trying to put the blame on the pilot or the air crew, uh, and the Boeing company has to be answerable to this as to how. I mean, at that stage, when the captain or the co-pilot has asked each other, "Have you switched off?" No, I have not. Nobody could be cooking a story over there. It's a matter of instantaneous truth which comes out.
True.
Have you switched off? No, I have not switched off. And then what has happened? It is unbelievable and cannot be absorbed. The
Fair
fact
enough.
is that final report will come out, full report will come out because so
Fair
many
enough, sir.
lives.
We've run out of time, but appreciate you joining us and thank you to everyone who were a part of this important discussion. We take a short break. We'll be right back.